A shot rings out and it strikes Charlie directly in the throat and he bleeds out moments later.
Shit.
And it's right there where the strangeness beyond obviously the strangeness of such an incident as this is going to begin. Or really perhaps minutes before, as we will later get a TikTok video that shows two people discussing a man they see on a roof who seems to be posing as a sniper getting ready to take a shot. Okay. Now that should be odd to everybody, but as far as I'm aware, this is before the incident. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in either regard, still incredibly strange. And this is the sort of stuff that's typically once in a blue moon in an incident like this, and really the only other thing I can think of that was like this was the first Trump shooting, which we'll talk about another time. But in that case as well, there was a fairly obviously placed individual.
They be doing perimeter sweeps for people that speaker and present, especially if you got ties to real politics. But how I view it is, you trying to join politics is like you trying to get in the music industry. You will get sacrificed, bro. So Charlie Kirk, bro, not only you, bro, but you got tapped in your neck because you kept politicking, bro. Like, that shit is no different than gangbanging to me, bro. No cap.
On a roof at some distance, just waiting for the right moment. And in both cases, the shooter was spotted well in advance by a number of witnesses and even filmed. Just an odd coincidence, except for I don't believe in those. What's particularly interesting about the Charlie Kirk shooting is that from the get-go... Why didn't nobody make a
video like, do you see this person on the roof before with a... You don't see no captions on the video, nothing. Somebody in the crowd like, bro, you see that dude on the roof? Why ain't nobody alert? If I would have seen somebody on the roof and I'm at a... Bro, I ain't gonna lie. Next time I go to any group outing, any group... Nah, I'm on point. I'm looking at roofs, bro. Nigga gotta get worried about getting sniped? God damn.
The mainstream media would start saying some bizarre and doing some bizarre things. Like what, if I recall correctly, is NBC discussing how maybe it was just a supporter firing off a gunshot in elation for the event. And that just makes literally zero sense, but that's actually something that was suggested. Or TMZ getting the news about Charlie Kirk's demise and laughing on live stream. But what's particularly stunning about this assassination, and yes, that's what it is, despite what some sources might claim, is that there's a second video of the shooter. Now, I'm sure most of you are already aware of this, but like I said, we're just gonna cover the initial details. So as we move on, we can make sure that we have everything in order. The second video shows the shooter directly after the incident, running across the roof and then disappearing behind an upper section of the building. This man is clearly moving at a rapid pace, which will later rule out some of the suspects. And from what I can tell, that's all of the certified imagery we really have of this individual for the first 12 to 16 hours. The following day, the FBI will let us know that they do in fact have video of the man's face, but aren't gonna release it to us just yet. I couldn't tell you why. However, shortly after that, I would say around 2 or 3 hours, we end up getting this information anyway, in the form of several stills from what is clearly some sort of surveillance camera video. The photos are oddly blurry and artifacted, which makes me question what kind of security cameras they're using, or if we're actually getting real footage. What happened to them flock
cameras? What happened to them high? I thought we was in 2025. How come the footage, bro? I swear to you, bro. All the UFO footage be blurred. All the shooter footage be blurred. Whenever you need to see something on camera, it's blurry.
Or images, but that I can't verify. A few hours later, we're going to get the information that in addition to this, the FBI now has a video for us of the shooter jumping off of the roof of the building, which seems like some pretty important stuff for us to receive. But it will continue from there, because they also aren't going to release that information initially. Later, we do get the video, but it's honestly not much help except for showing us that, well, this person's in some pretty decent shape to climb off of a roof and jump down and sustain the impact and keep moving. And it's a pretty big drop this guy takes, suggesting perhaps there's some level of experience involved. We then have some more rigmarole that we go through until we receive news that there are apparently doorbell cameras from a nearby neighborhood that picked up this shooter moving through it, or I should say the suspect that we deem as most likely being the shooter. Well, that the feds most likely deem as being the shooter, take that as you may. The individual is wearing all black and is walking, or really limping, through a neighborhood, which was the first detail that also doesn't really make sense to me, because after watching the guy take the drop off the roof, he doesn't appear to land badly on his body. Like I said, seems pretty experienced.
Bro. He got adrenaline. He has adrenaline, bro. That was him. His adrenaline wore off. Nigga, he just shot somebody from 100 yards. And ran, and he running away. Like, nigga, you know how that probably feel? That nigga probably scared as hell. Cause it ain't like you about to hop in a Humvee and get escorted back to the military base. You snipe a nigga no problem that way. You snipe a nigga on your own accord, or allegedly. But I don't know though, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. See, this is the thing. just because he running all crazy like this, and how do we know he wasn't ordered to act it out like this? Y'all know we on the world stage, right? It's YouTube. I could be a little more lenient. Y'all know, bro, they trying to ban my TikTok and shit, so I gotta be, bro. This shit is crazy. Y'all follow my new TikTok shit like that. The social media shit is sick, bro. It's some sick shit. But when it come to Tyler Robinson, right? When that nigga jumped off the roof, bro, that nigga ain't feel that shit because he off the adrenaline of shooting somebody.
Sprints off directly after hitting the ground. And then in that same doorbell camera, he's seen sprinting down a hill, seems totally fine. And this limp doesn't appear until after he spends an awkward amount of time behind a house where we have no footage, and then gets onto the street and starts walking around, trying to pretend to be normal. Now, some have suggested that this limp could be the suspect hiding the gun in his pants or something else. I don't know why that's the conclusion you jump to, and I would wonder if any of these people have ever held a firearm. But what's stranger than that is that at this point, the FBI had already released pictures of the firearm in question that the shooter had used, which was still left on the roof. Yeah, and that would mean we have a couple of venues to go down, which is really 2 or 3 main things that come to my mind. That being, why is the mainstream media publishing that the gun is in the guy's pants or something else? 2, why is this guy limping?
Right.
And 3, if the FBI already has this out there, why aren't they reporting on it? In addition to the gun on the roof, the FBI also finds shell casings, which are engraved with what they call transgender and anti-fascist ideological statements. I don't know what that means. I've yet to see pictures of said bullet casings, and I'm curious to see if we will ever get the genuine photos of what those looked like. We also know the shooter had left handprints, arm prints, and knee prints from where he had been laying, as well as some other circumstantial evidence. So nothing really major. I'm not even sure you can get DNA from any of the stuff there. What's interesting is that the shooter had such confidence, he didn't even bother to eject the spent casing from the bolt action rifle, which is what you have to do. You have to action the action. I mean, he was to some degree very confident in his shot and that it had been lethal, which we'll discuss how he could have been so confident, seeing as he was further enough away, not really be able to see exactly what had happened. But I'm getting ahead of myself. What's even more interesting to me though is that within a few hours
that nigga
of this
shot that one shot and dipped. It's some real higher learning shit, boy. Like, I remember that movie
occurring, the feds have already released a notification that, oh hey, we've been able to map the shooter's entire whereabouts that day from the time he got to campus. Does that mean that you have photos of the guy's face from a bunch of different cameras? You know when he got there, what he did in his time there, if he had the gun with him there or brought it earlier, and how he was able to get to the roof and if anyone had helped him. And yet none of that information is revealed to us. Wow. We get some crappy blurry photo of the guy's face and no information about how any of this is really possible. Because my first questions are, he got a gun and it's cardboard.
I hate when the police do that, bro. If you see somebody, if you see this person who just caught 5 bodies, call this number. No, you go do your job. Stop trying to have us do it. What's up with that? No, you go, what you posting on Instagram for? Salt Lake City, FBI, get off the gram, get off Twitter, get in the field. Y'all got something to do. Oh yeah, call person of interest, call this number. I hate that shit.
To the roof. Did no one ask any questions? They didn't see the massive logo from the company on the front of the box, or go, hey, kind of looks like a gun he's carrying in there. A little bit odd to me. Also, you can't really get on the roof of the school that easily, especially without being caught by several cameras and probably an alarm or 2 from entering what might be an alarmed exit to the roof. Just some food for thought. This all being said, one would suspect that if you have all of this data and you have all this footage of the shooter, man, you should have been on him like that. And apparently the feds were, at least initially. They were able to arrest what I believe are 3 different men, but for sure at least 2. That being one old cretin who was arrested while screaming that he had shot Charlie Kirk and that he would do it again. And then he also proceeded to beg the audience to shoot him afterwards.
Shoot me! Shoot me! Was that you? We don't know if it's him or not.
The police carried away this guy. He's some old dude named George Zinn. And it's interesting though, because one might suspect he's just some weird loser, which he is. But you also, looking hard enough, find that this fellow was reported and known to the police for an incident where he had called in a bomb threat after the Boston Marathon to a different marathon. A little bit odd. It seems like this guy.
Never mind. See, black folks, man, I ain't just gonna put on black folks, but me, that shit was funny. Me looking at that old nigga doing that shit. But in all actuality, he's probably some type of agent too. But on some Matrix shit, why is this old man talking about like just? But then I had to just like my pineal clicked on. Like, you know how they say once you put the glasses on, you can't take them off. That nigga's an agent. Right in front of you. All that shit be in the script too. That's what be so crazy.
Guy has a history of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, saying the wrong things.
Right.
In addition to that, we have a fellow who I will show his face on here. We don't know much about him, but he was a suspect at one point. He's younger and better matches the description, at least of the blurry photos we get. But even he was released with just an hour or so of questioning, it seems. And on top of that, I believe this is a separate man, a separate old man than the other one. And this fellow was caught driving around with a gun on his dashboard, which I don't know why you get arrested for that, but that's besides the point. The police arrest this guy and take out what they believe to be his gun that looks oddly similar to the firearm used in the shooting, if you were at a distance, and find out it's an air rifle. So now we have 3 people, all are arrested, none of whom really match the description except for one a little bit, bro. And yet all of them get released within an hour or so of being arrested. It's a little weird to me, a little convenient, especially because at this time the police are telling us they're mapping this whole thing out. We already know what the shooter looks like. Also at the same time, we are getting police reports that really contradict what we're going to be later told this guy looks like in these photos. Let me just play that here for you now so we have it for posterity's sake.
He'd be wearing all black, black long gun, black tactical helmet, a black mask, possibly wearing a tactical vest and jeans.
All of this is pretty hard to believe in my mind because to some degree there is coordination going on. I would find it hard to believe that 3 separate red herrings appear, one of which we know for certain confesses to the killing, even doing so on camera, screaming to be shot by everyone else there. Very strange, but not so strange as something else we see that it's made its rounds online, but it's still worth including here for the sake of future review. As you can see, what we are looking at is a long-haired man acting beyond odd, beyond strange, in a truly disgusting manner. He is, as everyone else ducks down after hearing a shot ring out and murder someone right in front of you, he gets up, turns around, goes completely against the crowd, and looks in the general direction where we believe the shooter was, and starts smiling, yelling, and dancing. I really don't know what else to make of it, except for him.
That's not surprising. I'm not trying to make it about race, but we know white folks are killers, bro. Look at the TV shows that they be making it. Bro, people be going home every night watching horror stories and BMF. Even shows like BMF. Oh, I just want to watch BMF. 5 people get murdered on the show. Like, oh my gosh. Yo, Americans are actually insane, bro. It's either you a full consumer and you a bot and you cheering for politics and people dying and game banging and all this goofy yeah, the Matrix, or you're you are your own controller and you live in your life and you live completely outside this paradigm. It's either one or the other in the Matrix, bro. Or you off the grid. You know? You got niggas that live in the Matrix that's off, that's not a part of it. Niggas like us that's watching, we just watch the stage and flip it. Then you got niggas who take a part of it like, yeah, we believe in, I hate Charlie Kirk. I hate this friend. Right? Then we got them type of people that care about the Matrix. Like the type of content I make, people that go in the comments and be like, black people fall. Usual, them type of people, they're bots. Then you got niggas who just live off the grid. They don't care about what the fuck y'all talking about. They don't know about none of this. They are 2 hours out from the major city in the middle of the woods right now, grabbing apples and shit with their family right now, smelling the grass and the horses and shit. Yeah.
Reminds me of 5 other dancers I'm aware of, but I guess that's something for later. And fortunately, so many people were filming at the time that we also have another perspective on the Charlie Kirk shooting. And in that angle, there's something really weird revealed. And that is a strange man standing behind Charlie that appears to be a security guard of some sort. I would wager he's probably 3 feet away from Charlie. I don't know for sure, but he's standing behind Charlie to the right. That we know. And he's out of Charlie's view, which is worth noting because he's given enough hand gestures and signals to look like a gangster with Parkinson's. So I'm not really sure what to make of this. So many people have claimed that these are signals and he is signaling the shooter, which, like I said, I'm not gonna say I agree with any of these theories or disagree. I'm just trying to present the evidence here. I don't know what this could be, besides he's signaling
That's a raw
another
map
security guard or he's signaling the shooter on the roof. And it's worth noting, if this guy is security, he's directly in sight of the guy on the roof with his gun aimed right at Charlie. It is a pretty complicated and complex shot that this guy had to make, considering the trajectory. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but it's also still within range where you could probably have waved at the guy and seen that he was right there.
He was there, right.
Which makes me really struggle to believe that none of the security, none of the police, none of the feds that were there were able to spot the guy on the roof with the gun overwatching the entire thing.
If I was Charlie Kirk, I would have seen them. I would have seen them, bro. Automatic, like, bro. But that nigga probably been on the road. It's probably been his 5th show of the week. They always catch you on them times. That's why you never want to be a product to some shit like that where you have to perform all the time and even like rap. Like, I don't want to rap, bro. Like, I mean, I love music, but I don't want to perform my songs, bro. What? Nigga ain't finna. I know somebody gonna try to get down. What? I be saying too much shit. Niggas be like, you sound like RX nephew. That nigga ain't gonna perform none of no. He gonna perform a half of a conspiracy song, maybe. Nigga, all my shit is talking crazy. All of it. I'm talking about rappers, boule, shadow government, old world history, Vatican, all type of shit. My music gonna goddamn niggas. First of all, it's gonna make niggas glitch in the crowd.
Who had apparently been there since what I want to say was 11:52 a.m. This all just seems like way too much coincidences for me, and it's just utter nonsense at this point. Something else is going on that's incredibly hard to deny. And therefore, we're gonna have to consider another factor in this entire incident. The factor that comes to mind being, who else is involved? And therefore, we're gonna have to consider some other factors. Over the past day, since the initial release of the photos of the suspect in question, you may have noticed that there are some other photos emerging, those being the AI enhanced ones, which in theory are awesome because, as mentioned, the original photos are grainy and functionally useless in my mind. But these new photos, some of which are being sent by police departments, are stunning. I mean, could you ask for a better perp photo? Like, let's go find this guy. Let me plop it in TinEye or Yandex, get his Instagram, let's go to his house, right? Well, no. The feds aren't gonna be able to do that because despite police releasing these photos and sharing these photos, these aren't real. These look somewhat similar to what you might imagine the guy looks like, but in the same way we imagine this guy could look like that, so does AI. What people have done is they have fed, and you can say this is intentional or not, I don't care. People have fed these original images, these grainy ones, into AI enhancers, and